of the WWE, and also discussing one Ronda Rousey's comments briefly that she went on record to make earlier in the week, or at least they were released earlier this week. I just saw it today. And then, because we are an all-encompassing, total equal rights, equal attention and priority and respect and enthusiasm towards everything, we do have an extremely tiny horse racing quickie in here as well regarding the Breeders' Cup, kind of the, final horse racing event of the season in the U.S. here, at least, for the most part. So, wow, yeah, that's what we got coming up on the show tonight. We are just starting on 16 minutes. Let's get underway with our opening segment, shall we? All right. Well, you have heard all the topics at hand for tonight's show. What have I chosen for the opening segment? Well, I have two choices that we are going to combine here into the opening segment. So, I'll be giving you a left one and a right one. And we will start out, neither of them are, of the particularly upbeat, or uplifting side, or even enraging or anything like that. A little bit on the second half. But we will be discussing the news regarding the two Minnesota head coaches that I mentioned earlier here to start our show in the hit opening segment. Say it with me, everyone. Balls on fire. Now, as I mentioned, or as you can tell if you're a regular listener, I usually start this first opening segment, Balls on Fire, with a topic that I am really fired up about, hence the name, either in an upset way or in a super happy, excited way. Well, for the first half of it here this week, it is going to be neither of those ways. Because we are going to devote the very first part of the very first segment of the show here to remembering the late, great Flip Saunders. Now, as I mentioned, Flip Saunders passed away this last week after a battle with cancer. I believe it was his second go-around with it. I believe it was not much more than 2 months ago is all, when he announced that it was back and he had to, go do some more chemo again or whatever. But they said they caught it in, really early, and also that it was a very treatable, not curable, but very, very treatable form of cancer, and that the odds for success and whatnot are extremely, extremely high. It's, about as routine and, usually works out as it gets. And, 2 to 3 months later, it takes him. So there was still an element of, a big element of shock and surprise. And I think there is any time someone's life ends, because even though, we all know how inevitable it is for everyone else and every one of us, we don't ever really, respect and accept and embrace the, reality of it being that close to us, whether it be someone else or us ourselves. And so it was, just as upsetting and saddening as it could be. I mean, it would be, it always is, no matter what. And no matter who, for the most part, as well. But like I said, just with with Flip having gone through it before and come out on the other side a winner, and then having to go through it again and having, all the positive information and odds in your favor that you can ask for in such a situation, and knowing the type of person and fighter that he's going to be in this situation. It was just, like I said, it shocked everybody. An immense deal to go along with the, immeasurable amount of sadness that so many people in and around the state of Minnesota felt as a result of Flip's passing. None any less notable than our, king of basketball here in Minnesota, which would be one Kevin Garnett. If you did not see it, please search it on whatever internet device you choose. But Kevin Garnett sent out a tweet when Flip Saunders passed, and it was powerfully moving, an absolutely perfect tribute to someone who has passed on that you respected, admire, and love. And just like I said, if you don't know what I'm talking about, search it. Please just search KG tweet, rest in peace Flip Saunders, any of those, but make sure to put KG and tweet in there. But so anyway, what he tweeted was he gave someone, or had someone use theirs, and I, then forward it to him or whatever. But he had someone take a picture of him, and he had his back to the camera and was wearing a hoodie and had the hoodie up, and so you couldn't even tell who was in the picture. By looking at it, you couldn't tell who was in the picture, for sure. Because, like I said, all we see is him from behind with the hoodie up. But he was sitting on the ground in a parking lot, and there was a nameplate on the wall on the space that he was sitting in, and it said Flip Saunders on it. And the words, the comment that KG tweeted to go along with that visual photo of Kevin Garnett sitting in Flip Saunders' empty parking spot at the T-Wolves facility was forever in my heart. That's it. Very simple, very short, and yet extremely profound and moving and deep. Man, we are going, I'll tell you right now, the warning, okay, intense depth warning on at parts of this episode, at least. We are going to be going even deeper than balls deep, if that is possible. I don't know what's deeper than balls deep, but we're going to find out together tonight. I know you like it when I talk it to you like that. But anyway, back to the serious stuff. KG tweeting that out, just, like I said, you need to look at it. I don't want to explain it to you, or at least how I took it or anything like that. I just want people to see it for themselves and then be moved in whatever way it moves them. That's the type of person I am. But so if you haven't seen that and been exposed to that, please seek it out. And if you have and just didn't really put any thought into it, put a little more thought into it, because it's much more than just an "I miss you" type of statement. It's immeasurably deeper and more meaningful than that. Also, other players and former players expressing their thoughts and feelings regarding Flip when it happened was one Stephon Marbury. He did a Instagram post, like a big long letter, something like that. It wasn't a tweet. It was for the most part a letter. And the things Stephon Marbury said in that letter were incredible, and as a Minnesota fan, did not sound in any way, shape, or form like anyone I ever knew or saw or heard of named Stephon Marbury. Stephon Marbury's MO here in Minnesota, for the most part, was not that of having upstanding character. But when if you take the time again to seek out and read his comments that he made, and his thoughts and feelings on the person and the life of Flip Saunders, profoundly moving as well. So I bring this and as well as in the overview I mentioned, to go along with those two players, I found that gave the most notable, like, holy cow, moving a grown man type of stuff, was just all the national attention that the story got. You had no idea how big and well respected and regarded Flip was nationally. We never really get to find that out here in Minnesota until something like this happens, and then we get to really see how much people paid attention to him nationally and internationally. And it was awesome to see just all the respect and the tweets from around the league being posted, and the constant coverage of the story on ESPN, people sharing their thoughts. It was great. One thing I found extremely interesting in watching that was that Flip Saunders is actually ranked 20th all time for wins in the history of the NBA. That's right, Flip Saunders is 20th all time amongst head coaches in the history of the NBA for wins. Who knew? I didn't. I sure as heck didn't know that. But I do now, and so it's great to see that. And then also, I think the benefit that we get here in Minnesota is, like, with a lot of those people that are considered our own, we focus way more on the personality and personal side of those people, and whether we like them or not, what they're like, how they are and who they are as people. And we tend to kind of disregard or downplay numbers when it comes to wins, losses, points, whatever, the numbers. We tend to downplay that here in Minnesota and just really focus more on the character that are people and a team and an organization and things like that, for the most part. That's not saying we don't care about winning. We care about winning too. But that's always priority here, at least in Minnesota. At least it's always felt like. And Flip was an embodiment of that. As I mentioned, he was both the president of operations for the team as well as the head coach at the same time. Sam Mitchell will be taking over as head coach for him. We really couldn't have a more capable, better fit of someone coming in for him than Sam Mitchell, a guy who has been coach of the year in the NBA, a guy who is one of our own as far as the Timberwolves. He was here on the ground floor with Pooh Richardson and Tyrone Corbin and Musselman, all those guys back when the team first started. So it really it works out about as well as you could ever hope for it to in those regards. I think the president of operations element of what he was contributing to the team currently, that's measurable in success and wins and losses and stuff like that, I think that's going to be much more where he will be missed. like I said, from a professional standpoint.